Howdy ho everyone, how you doing? This is Sharon and Dwayne with UCDI with Knowledge and Nonsense. I don't know what just happened. Dwayne, can you see me?
I can see you. Yes, I can see you.
Good. I'm glad you can see me because I can't see me. But I am excited. We are speaking with Kenneth Campbell today, and he has an article out in HPN magazine, and we're also talking about encouragement and just engagement with staff. It's it's July, right?
It is. It
It's
is.
July. We're coming off of a holiday. We don't have another one for a while, and this is when people have to fight fires and fight hard to remain engaged. This
Yeah.
is actually a high burnout time. So, what do you think? How is it down there in Florida?
It's quite pleasant and weather-wise, extremely busy. I really appreciate HPN and their articles. Right, it's one of my top five industry reads. Right, because there's always something new and engaging. The name of this article is called "Efficiency, Proficiency, and Reprocessing," and it's I urge everyone to go out, Google it, open up that HPN magazine and dig into it. There's a lot of talent and effort that goes into these articles. I think that's noteworthy of mentioning, Sharon. And you yourself, as an author, you know how much critical cerebral capacity, CCC, it takes to really write an article and deliver the message you're trying to give to your audience. So
Yeah.
this is a really good article. So I'm hoping Kenneth is able to jump on. Aloha, Arlene, faithful friend, family member of the show, Knowledge Nonsense. So yeah, it was a lot of good pointers. I'm really looking forward to engaging, and let's get to it.
All right, let's get to it. Kenneth, we had just a little bit of technical difficulties with him. He should be joining us back again here in a second. But yes, y'all know what to do. Share this video if you have any questions, comments, or just feedback 214-717-5921. Or you can put it right into the comment box and we will talk about it. We'll discuss it. We love your feedback. We're here for you and we're here to learn ourselves. So, yeah. All right, we'll be right back. 20 seconds. Let's do it.
Let's go.
And we're back. Yes. So this will be fun. This will be so awesome. So Luane, can we talk about this as I'm doing some troubleshooting as I'm working with getting our guests on with some of the troubleshooting there. Tonight's topic is E&E and SPD, which is encouragement and engagement in SPD. Now, I know you work with several facilities, several people, several B2B. Are you sensing, are you seeing that there's a little more encouragement needed during this time right now?
It unfortunately is not consistent enough, right? And as a friend of mine would say, as evidenced by what, right? As evidenced by the large amount of staff turnover in our facilities, right?
Yeah.
So a direct correlation, people who are professionals, who are engaged, who are encouraged, tend to stay around a lot longer than the mean guy on Seinfeld making a soup, right, and yelling at his customer.
No soup for you.
No soup for you. So it's so vital that we not only identify burnout, or we identify countermeasures to prevent it. Not only that we identify when employees are not being engaged, we once again identify countermeasures to counteract or impact that positive atmosphere. Everything's about energy, right? So only way to balance energy one way is to counter with something equal or greater than, right? Simple mathematics. So SPD and other departments, it's always heartbreaking when you see an employee, their body language is just saddened. You can see them walking around head bowed very low, hunched over. There's not truly enjoying the grace of just existing. And
Right.
leaders have a role in that. Believe it or not, leaders have a role in that. Your department, the atmosphere in your department says a lot about who you are as a leader, the person governing that department. You know, um, I know that's a heavy load to lift, right? How can I be responsible for everything at all the time? No one's saying you have to be responsible for everything all the time, but it's your job. Should be a purpose of yours to set the tone in your organization or in your department to set this tone.
I was working with, for some who know, some who don't, I have the opportunity to do some coaching, some leadership training, and I was working with someone. And, when people start, a lot of times when you're in crisis or you're in their burnout or you are not engaged or you're a little frustrated as a team member, whether you're the leader, whether you are a direct report, you're still part of a team. So as a team member, and this person was just rehearsing and rehashing all of like the negative things or everything that could go wrong. That was the only conversation. It was always something that was wrong, something that was wrong. And I don't believe in turning a blind eye or a deaf ear, but I was like, somewhere, something has to be not wrong. And so I asked the person, I said, well, how can you impact your organizational culture? Not being funny, like, what are you bringing in? What are you bringing in? How are you coming in? Are your guns blazing with more of the chaos? Are your guns blazing with something that can help build and improve morale and encourage your team to keep going? You don't have to be a leader to do that, but doing it does make you a leader. Booyah. Anyway, so I was really just kind of saying, like, anybody can influence the organizational culture. Anybody can influence morale. You don't have to wait on someone else to do it. So,
Hey, you know what? I agree with that statement. And as you know, I'm big on a lot of us big on leadership because any member of the tribe can impact great change. Period. Regardless of the title, position, any of that. But I'm a firm believer that someone should be the catalyst of change. Someone has to be that nucleus. Right. Someone else can be the electron. Hopefully, you're not the neuron. You're not the neutral, but someone has to be the catalyst for change. Kenneth, welcome to the show. What say you?
Thank you. I agree with everything y'all are saying. Me personally, I actually take my lowest person in the department and I ask them for ideas because you're right. Without that change or somebody that is new coming in, that's the person that's gonna help you drive, because the people that's been there a long time, they're set in their ways sometimes. So you need that fresh person, fresh set of eyes, and their ideas work too because they haven't seen it. And I use that method. I try to get the people that I have that haven't been there for years on top of years. I get them to, be a part of the huddle, lead the huddle. Actually, give me your input. What have you seen? What do you see from a standpoint of somebody just coming in that, that we may overlook because we've been doing it for so long?
Yeah.
I totally listen. Ms. Green Golden, good evening to you. She said encouraging the team should be done on a daily basis. Guess what? It should become a part of the culture, right? You can't. Right. So in some jobs, right, you can fake it till you make it. You can't fake being real. Right? You can't fake being real.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how do you fake being real? What is that, right? It's called acting. And we got people who are good actors and they get paid to act. But when the movie's over, you go back, their true colors come out. It's so important that we genuinely show up with a passion for people, right? A passion for people. No one's saying you can't get the other P the paycheck or sell the other P the product. But from those 3 Ps, the most important resource we have that we can impact, influence, and grow our people, right? So it's so vital. We have to step our game up,
So on that aspect, like for me, I had to put a special emphasis on the people for mine because I inherited a department that like so I didn't have a whole bunch of experienced people that I could pull from in my normal neighboring communities. So I had to come in. I had EVS workers. I had linen. I had all of these people. So pouring into them and getting them invested in what we were trying to do was my main focus when I took over this position, because that buy-in, as you said, without the people, we can't even function to do what we need to do. So therefore, I had to have them buy into what we were trying to do. I had to have them invested in what we were trying to do.
I have to tell you, you killed that article. All right, good job with the
Thank
article.
you.
There's a
Thank
line.
you. Thank you.
Your last line, you said after you was talking about career track and growth, you said something that I thought was powerful, impactful. It said they can visualize their worth, where they want to go, and how to get there. They can visualize their worth. So, AKA leading by example, AKA putting a path in front of someone. One of the best things my mentor has done for me in the past was to tell me no. Right?
Right.
No, you can't have, or no. And when I heard the word no, I'm like, how could you tell me no? As much as we've done all experiences, right? But
Right.
it was so powerful because it made me want to visualize how to get where you are as one of my mentors, and how to fix that path. So even in telling me no, it was a form of encouragement. It helped me grow. Um, in the same article, Kenneth, it mentioned in the header that cases are now back in full bloom, right?
Right.
Surgeries are back on the books. Um,
Right.
what jewels or type of investments in people in your department or to your peers what techniques do you use? How do you empower consistently our folks in our field? How do you empower?
Well, for me, I think the communication piece, including them and allowing them to be or take ownership of some of the responsibilities. Yes, I have leads. I have people that are inexperienced. I have people that are uncertified. However, when I'm at a huddle, those are the people that I have lead the huddle sometimes. Those are the people that I want to hear from during the huddle. Those are the people, like you said, that will drive the boat for you. So by creating a ladder, I show them, hey, I have a lead, but you can get there too. This is what I need from you. I go into decon, work side by side with them. I'm on the prep and pack station working side by side. I'm pulling case cards. This is my buy-in for you. Show me what you want me to help you with today. How can I help you achieve our goal today? Not just sitting in the office, not just being behind a desk. I'm actually on the front line with them, showing them that no matter where I stand in the field, I had started out where you at, and I have no problem showing you these are the steps I took. This is what it would take for you to get to the next level, and that's how get them to have the buy-in. It's showing that we're all in this together. Like I've had leaders that never left the office. I've had leaders that couldn't put a set together to save their life right now. However, I don't want to be that type. I'm a hands-on, I'm in there with them, and that's where I make the difference for my staff. Yes, I have my administrative stuff, but I make time to be a part of the everyday activity as well.
It's important, to be a member of the team and not just be excluded as us versus them. Uh,
Right.
Also big on taking lessons from other industries, right? One lesson I took from other industries that I try to incorporate when I can. I love it when at the end of a purchase, when the rep on the phone will say, "Hey, if you get an email or text message, would you mind leaving me a review? It'll be so helpful to important to me." I
Right.
took that same lesson, and I also said, what if we were able to, as leaders now, right, in management, and if I'm a manager and I work for a facility and they may or may not offer me an annual bonus, what if we were able to tie that bonus into a customer review from your staff, right?
Right.
You you would see you would see a culture change, because now
Right.
the people you serve, you work with, your constituency, they now have direct impact on your bottom line. You know, imagine that change, right? And unfortunately, we should not never have to akin money and finances to how you treat people. But imagine there was a true penalty, a one that could be measured, that impacts your bottom line. How much more happier some of our healthcare professionals would be, and how much more engaged some of the leadership would be.
Now, just from that standpoint of how you said that, I look at it from like, we as leaders, why would that make it more impactful for me to be on the floor or to step in a decon, or, you know, why would that have to be my motivation? Yeah, that's just from that aspect of how you put it. How would that have to be my motivation? That I have to go in there now because at the end of the cycle or whatever, I need a review from my staff to say, oh, did he deserve this bonus today? So I went all out for a bonus and not because your staff needed you.
Hey, listen, let's go get it, because this is what I love about real engagement, right? And this is from a person who, I've been in a consultantary role for many years, right?
Right. Right.
Like you, I've held many positions from techs to, educators, and I truly love what I do. And I want to bring Sharon in here. But some folks are not cut out to manage people. Some folks are not cut out for it. All of the multiple years of learning, the degrees, some just lacks that je ne sais quoi, that ability just to come into a room and empower someone else. Selflessness.
So, and I'm gonna have to take Sharon's word right now. So we need to get those leaders to hold their form and do something, because that's not the type of leader that, how are you going to lead people if you're not a people person? If you're not in, how do you lead people if you're not even adept to be on that level?
Oh, Sharon, you got to come over here. I got to say one more thing, please. Yeah, how you gonna lead people not a people person? Some are no longer people. They're subject matter experts. They're consultants. They're no longer your neighbor. We have to go to commercial break. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sharon,
when we come back, I am going to weigh in, and we're going to bring our second panelist in. Tammy's going to be with us. So let's take this commercial break. Guys, keep bringing the comments. Share the video. Engage with us. This is encouragement and engagement. Engage with us. And while you're on, go ahead. Hey, if you don't know, for those of you on LinkedIn, we're viewing this from the Knowledge and Nonsense page now. It's not connected to my profile. So go ahead and like that page so you can be notified when we're on air. We have I'm going to go ahead and take this commercial, but we have a stellar lineup coming. It's good. All right. So see you guys in about 30 seconds.
Those in the know SIPS Consults. SIPS Consults is hiring. Confident, competent, and consistent. Starting as a consultant and a volunteer, SIPS has grown into a dynamic group of stellar sterile processing professionals, offering excellent benefits, 401k, and consultant in training program. We are hiring certified technicians, leads, supervisors, interim managers, educators, coordinators. Apply at recruiting@sipsconsults.com or dial 1-866-615-7977.
All right, and we're back with Knowledge and Nonsense. Luane and Kenz, you guys are dropping knowledge. I'm sure you saw some of the comments. We're going to be joined now with Tammy Heacock. So glad. Is it Heacock or is it?
Yes. It's
Yes,
Hey,
yes. So we have Tammy.
Hey, Tammy.
with us, a
Hi,
director.
guys.
We have
How you doing?
Number with us, another director. Listen, right about July, the summer, everyone it's hot, hot girl, hot boy. Just glad to be in the summer. Children are out of school. Right about this time in July, there's no real holiday kind of coming up close, you know? And so, man, I'm telling you, the burn, I don't want to call it burnout, but the need for encouragement and engagement is strong. It's strong right now. Depending on where you are, it's hot as heck. You know, this cars are overheating. Reps aren't getting there on time, and of course, they're blaming SPD. So, I mean, it's a lot of things going on. This is a firefighting month. Typically, this is a firefighting month, and if you're in leadership, you know what firefighting means. Now we're going to go back here. You guys said you can't lead people if you're not a people person, but you can learn those skills, because even people who aren't quote unquote people persons, they may just be more task oriented. So they care about the team, but they care about the task getting done to help the team. And so those skills can be learned. They can be learned. Tammy, I know you're in the back listening. I could talk all day about like leadership and leading people, but I want to let you weigh in on some of the things you heard them saying. What did you think?
Well, I loved the you can't lead people unless you're a people person. And I do agree with that. But like you said, Sharon, there are many things we can do, even if you're not a people person as a leader. But for myself, my single most important thing is get to know your team. Because what engagement is for me or for Kenneth could be completely different for Sharon. And unless I know what Sharon needs to be happy and whole, I may think I'm doing a great job and I'm failing my team miserably. And I can't figure out, why are they not engaged? What am I doing wrong? And we just get in this vicious cycle of, you know, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again. And without input and really getting to know your team and knowing what makes them tick, you know, what really makes them sell back their PTO that they've saved up for 9 months for, so they can take their kids to Disney.
Yeah.
You know, what is going to drive them to do that? Now, I want my team not to give their PTO back. I want them to go to Disney, because you only got one shot at Disney, right? But there's something that we do as leaders that makes our team members want to do that for us, want to do that for our patients, for our teams. So for me, it's just really getting to know your team members. And I mean, I'm blessed. Anybody who knows me out there knows I'm somewhat of a people person.
I like to throw this in right here. And I would love for Kenneth, you, Tammy, Luane, I would love for you guys to weigh in, maybe even in that order. But John Maxwell has a saying, I'm sure many people have heard it, and he says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And a lot of times when individuals are either new in leadership or they're leading from a deficit, like from a scarcity mindset, then the leadership is more about them than the team. And you'll hear it come out in comments. How dare you embarrass me? You made me look this. I said, like, it's this is the origin right here. The way you must have heard this recently. Like all the origin is here. And then you want your team to engage. But the law of the mirror says people do what people see. So if you all right here and how dare you embarrass, what are they going to do except be right here within them? What do you guys think about that? Is that an antiquated quote? Is it an unrealistic quote?
No, I think from a standpoint of leadership, it rings very true. I think that everybody should figure out whatever rapport they have with each individual person, because you're going to approach each individual person a little bit differently. So that engagement starts with that first, when they walk in the door. They want to know that you are appreciative of them being there, that you care about the work that they're producing. And again, we as leaders sometimes get into that, as they say, people don't remember the good, they remember that one bad. I try to balance that out, and I do the sandwich. Yeah, you talk about this, you got to layer it, but you did this right, but we could do a little bit better on this. But you have to give it to them so that they understand it's not about always the harsh part. but it is a necessity because of what we do. But that engagement does start as soon as they hit the door. If they feel like you don't care about them being there, or I remember from the conference, Sharon Green Golden said something. People get that mindset of we're not babysitters, we're not this, but you need to know what's going on with your staff. So that engagement is really important to me. And I speak to every single person. I go around to every single station just to let them know that they are part of my team. I care about their being there. And hey, do I need to do something today to make your day a little bit easier?
Exactly. It can't be, we should practice servant leadership. Yes. I mean, we are directors, we are managers, we're supervisors, we're lead techs. So they're looking to us for direction, and they're looking for us to be a strong accountability partner. But at the same time, I had a manager once that said, the next time you forget an integrator, you're going upstairs and you're talking to the surgeon. And, on the surface, I thought, well, that's not really a bad idea. But then again, I feel like that's my manager's job. Like, they need to go up there and talk to the surgeons and then come back and talk to me. Like, it almost felt like a form of humiliation. Like, every time we make a mistake, we're going to make sure that surgeon knows exactly who did it. And, I just feel like that's beating them up. And I feel like they get beat up enough.
Yeah. What's so impactful here, team, we know that leadership is supposed to model the way, right? That's one concept. So if you're modeling the way, or if you're a mirror, right? And in the mirror, you see your own reflection. So your staff begins to adopt you. They become little yous running around. And then you wonder, how come they're so difficult? How come they don't dedicate? How come? Well, you may just be that leader that you are making little minions, right, of yourself.
Right.
So it's really important to understand, what are you giving off? Because what you're gonna give off is what you're gonna receive. There's a quote I read today.
Right.
It said you should smile more because smiling increases your face value. Right? How impactful is that? So we have so much to do. Esther Thomas, she said, I love my job and I think I'm a people person. And yes, you have to know your team, but you have to separate yourself from that team. Respect is first, and if you have that, then your team will be a team. Okay? Interesting quote.
All right,
thanks, Esther.
Let's dive in there. Let's dive in. Okay, so you have to separate yourself from your team. And many people say that. What does that look like? Because you have to be. What does that look like? I was about to put my impression on it, but no, I don't want to do that. That's what some leaders do. Let me just hear. What does that look like?
Separating means, at the end of the day, they know that you're a part of the team, but you're leading the team. You can't put yourself in the same situations as them. You can't be on the floor acting like they normally would act, or being passive aggressive when it comes to those situations. Like, they always say, well, he always does that, or she always does that. And then if you allow it to keep happening, then it becomes habit.
Right.
So then when you try to say something, you've let it go on for so long because now you were a part of the team.
You better stop that. You better stop. That's my wheelhouse.
I'm just saying. So how do you discipline after that, though?
Because you allowed expectations.
Right. So if you allowed it and now you're trying to discipline it, you're gonna have an issue. And then now everybody's looking at you like, well, you were out here with us. Like, so what are you doing? That's when you put yourself in those precarious situations where, not the road you want to go down.
Tammy?
Yeah, I just, you want to be, it's such a fine line because you want to build that relationship with them, right? You want us to feel like a team, because we are a team. No matter what level we are at, we're all on one team. We all have the same purpose, right? But you also have to be their leader. So you can't develop quote unquote friendships and then say, Arlene called in sick 5 times this week, but you know what? She's my buddy and we're going out to dinner on Friday night. So I'm just going to let that slide. But Sharon called in 3 times and she's getting an occurrence. So you have to make sure you're fair. You want them to respect you. For me, if we don't have respect as leaders, then we don't have anything. You can't build a team.
Right.
You can't engage a team unless they respect you. And believe it or not, people really like leaders that hold them accountable. I mean, nobody likes getting called into the office and saying, all right, that's it, bioburden for the 3rd time, you're getting a level. But they also don't like, okay, you sent up bioburden to the OR 6 times, and that's the first time they're hearing about it. Then we have failed as leaders.
Yeah. I think that accountability only counts if you're doing it to everybody. Like you said, when they want to see the accountability, they want to make sure that everybody's on the same playing field. So that's where that accountability will take effect, is if everybody's getting the same treatment, whether it be, that one time and it's a verbal little conversation, or the second time and it's a verbal written warning. You have to be consistent in the accountability, or else you're going to lose part of your team at the same time.
All right.
Exactly.
I got. Go ahead, LaWayne, because I'm going to push back on that one.
I know. I want you to. Back to leadership. In my opinion, even the best leaders, we have to stop thinking we arrived. Right? Like I'm here now. I'm going to change the game, right? And understand we're still on a journey trying to become that leader. No matter how great you are, right? We're still striving to become. You know how you're still striving? Because if you haven't reached impactfully every technician or every member, nurse, tech, med tech on your team, and was able to inspire every single one, you still have work to do. Right. So I think first we have to learn our leadership style. We have to know our audience. Miss Sherry just put that up there, and we have to stay humble. Right. We have to stay humble. Some of us get to this position. It's like, I am it. Yes, I am the coach, the all-star, the referee. If you're all of the above, then you truly don't need a team. Leave some room for someone else to be impactful. My 2 cents. Sharon, what do you got?
All right. So on the thing with being fair and everybody must be held accountable. The term fair, I always, y'all know me. Words, we think they have a meaning until you tell somebody else and their meaning of it is not yours. So in holding everyone accountable and being fair, everybody gets the exact same treatment. Feel free to come for me in the comments, guys. I don't know that I'm a fan of that. I believe accountability is a must. But if everybody is getting the exact same treatment, then as you begin to know your team, just like different people respond to different types of praise, different people respond to different types of correction and reprimand and or education. So if I'm new and I do something that makes absolutely no sense, not only is the CNO coming down there to talk to you, the physician is right there with them. They're not calling you up to the room. They're coming down to talk to you. It's that serious. And you're about to get it. Kenneth, you are about to fully get it on my behalf, because at the end of the day, you're the director, and that's leadership,
Right.
But I really didn't know. But this mistake is still huge. But I really didn't know. So maybe I get some education. Maybe I get some more one-on-one. Maybe I get somebody that you partner me with, like a preceptor, to be like, look, you're not ready to fly solo. And I might not like that. I may be a little embarrassed, but that may be different than me getting this full-blown write-up. So I'm just thinking, I don't know if it's realistic. Feel free to come for me in the comments. But if Tammy's late, if Tammy is late every Monday, Tammy's late. Everybody know why Tammy's late. Tammy is doing what Tammy does on the weekend. And this is just an example. I don't know anything about what Tammy does on the weekend. I'm just using her name.
Tammy loves a good Sunday fun day.
All right, Sunday. Right. And then, LaWayne, you're late and your attendance is impeccable. It's impeccable. But for whatever reason, you had a flat tire or your baby was sick that day or something, I don't feel like you get what Tammy get, because
No.
patterns are predictable. All right, I'm through. I don't even know if that was a question. I just want to push back a little.
So I guess my question is, so I guess the question then becomes, that person that's been there, let's say 10 years, 5 years, whatever, versus your new person. So you give your new person that plan of action to say, okay, we're going to go back and let's review ABC. You give the person that's been there 5, 10 years that verbal. They're both accountability.
Right.
You're still holding both of them accountable, but you're still addressing the situation. That's what I mean by, everybody getting the same firm but fair. It still has to be addressed. Yes.
You're not just letting things go. So, I mean, everybody's still held accountable. It's just at different levels for their different levels of experience, their different levels of knowledge.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's,
maybe the person who sends bone cement upstairs has never seen bone cement. Maybe they've been here for 6 months and they're fortunate enough that the OR's never sent an instrument down with bone cement on it.
Right.
So they see it come down. They look at that mallet. They think it's just part of the mallet.
Yeah.
It's just interesting, right? Because at the beginning of the day, I don't believe you can discipline a person, right? And I think you can only the criminal justice system disciplines people, right? That's there.
right.
I feel you can discipline an action or process. So it's always so important to understand people are people, right? And I think when you go to drill down to understand why someone made an error, why is usually, not always, but usually it's something in the process. Something in the process is broken. And some of these systems in your hospitals right now are working how they were designed to work. So if we're getting multiple errors, you're getting staff high turnover rate, you're getting the Luwanes who are coming every Monday, always for 3 years. Guess what? And maybe it's your system is giving you the outcome that you designed it to give you. So I think we should dig back deeper into the system to understand why are we getting this outcome. Ms. Green Golden, when stating fair, it's in the rules that hold us. If you must be at work 3 days a week, I must stay true to the rule and hold all team members to the rule with wisdom. Okay. So I think it's usually the process, for a long time, like, oh, it's the people. The people just don't get it. I've been inspiring them. I'm out here smiling. I'm having events. I'm inviting them at birthdays. I'm doing everything this book tells me what to do. But in my opinion, my experience is usually the process. Somewhere around the process is giving us that output that we put in.
And Luwane, I agree. One of the things like we did, I put up a standard of work for that reason. I posted it so that everybody has the same layout because the process is the process. So I totally agree that when you look back and you trace back what happened, there was some kind of deviation in the process.
Right.
Did the person care, not care? Probably not, probably did. But if you change the process, you're going to have a different outcome than is originally slated to be.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, when we implemented, we were having a lot of struggles at one of our campuses with bioburden making it to the OR. And, for a director, manager, scrub tech, surgeon, circulating nurse, that's your biggest nightmare, right? Like that's your worst fear come true when you have to go up to the OR, 3 times in a week for bioburden in the, almost the exact same instrument every single time. And, I was new to this job and I just couldn't, I'm like, exactly what you said, Luwane, what is wrong with these people? And I caught myself saying that. I never say that. I always, when someone says, what is wrong with your team? I say, there's nothing wrong with my team. We have a process problem. It is rarely a people problem. It's typically a process problem. And then I caught myself saying that and I had to reset and go, okay, where's the process problem? And I went out and realized that we had all these really nice fancy magnifying glasses on our assembly stations and these really cool magnifying lights, and 9 out of 10 of them didn't work. The light bulbs were all burnt out. So in my mind, I'm thinking, you guys have all the tools you need to be successful. Why is this happening? But they really didn't. They had the look of the tool. And then lo and behold, then we started a quality double check station, right? But we didn't roll the process out well, right? And I learned a lot from that, because for me, my worst favorite term is, that's the way we've always done it. Second is, well, that's common sense. Because common sense for Tammy is much different than common sense for Kevin.
It's truly interesting. Yes. You can have and you can have a Sharon. You can have the garb on, a uniform on of a leader. You can have all if I see you, I'm saying, wow, you got scrubs on. Okay, you're in close proximity to cell processing. You look like a cell processing tech, or you look like a manager, but you lack the capacity for the look. So that's our core of how to inspire. I think we got to all dig deeper. Ms. Green Golden said, I always ask why until we understand the issue, and then I dig to the answer. I don't kill my team members. I don't take job members. I don't take jobs. Members give the jobs up. I actually agree with that.
That's very true.
That's very true. Yes, you can work yourself right out of a position.
Yeah, Green Golden.
And I tell my team that all the time.
To be successful elsewhere.
I tell my team that all the time. It's the basic SPD functions that will cause you not to be here. You got to go back. You have to go to the base of what your job is, follow your processes. If that, and we give you the tools, you can be successful. But any of those things are out of place, then yeah, we are setting you up to be very successful somewhere else.
And when you make a conscious decision, and this goes back to engagement, right? Like, how do we create buy-in? How do we as leaders say, hey, we have this new process, this new QA station. This is why we need you to use it. This is why we need you to do it exactly like this. So speak to the why, but speaking to the why isn't always enough to engage everyone on the team. So make it real for them. Show them exactly what happens when you don't follow the process.
I must come in right now and give just applause. I'll do silent applause. I just want to give applause for what both of you said. All three of you, actually. First off, kudos on the inclusive language. This is why we do this. Not this is why you need to do it. This is why I do it. It's inclusive. This is why we do this. But also you, and I believe Green Golden had written something in the comments where you're taking the hits. Kenneth, I know you do this too. Like, you take the hits for your team, and that does create buy-in. You said my team doesn't have a problem. We have a process problem. Immediately, whoever you're speaking with, that audience, they are going to adjust their conversation, because they know you're not going to stand there for 40 minutes and listen to them badmouth this team, and your team knows that too. And if I know that LaWayne, he has my back no matter what, even when I mess up, he's going to call me on it. Accountability, being fair, but he has my back. So there's going to be more buy-in. There's going to be more engagement. And so I just wanted to point that out, because we're talking about encouragement and engagement. And so if you're out there and you have a team and you are accustomed to listening to somebody talk about your team for 20 to 30 minutes and just downgrade them, it's okay for you to say, hey, we don't have a team problem. We have a process problem. And put the attention back where it is.
Indeed. You know what's so amazing? And I truly love the personality types, the multiple personality types of healthcare workers, right? You treat your team right. You give them genuine understanding, empathy, active listening, and comprehension. Your team will go to the ends of time to support you. Even if you're wrong, right? Yeah. Even when you're wrong, they'll go to the ends of time to support you. So it's important that you you make your team feel like a team. You allow them to acknowledge their worth. Because one thing I tell my multiple teams, if any shift in the hospital, in SPD in particular, decided not to show up for one day, the outcome of surgeries for that day and the rest of the week is going to be disastrous. So,
Right.
So you gotta. It's important. It really matters. They really do matter. Healthcare workers of all different types, from EVS to the person in the lunch line making your lunch, to the security guards. If any one of these folks in our ecosphere fail to be to disengage or decided to sabotage, the whole ecosystem is now thrown off, period.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because I think that's something that I mean, I've caught myself doing it. As leaders, we owe it to our team to show that we treat everyone in our hospital with the same level of respect that we treat our team members with, and that they deserve. So if you're a super awesome leader to the OR and you're super respectful to your SPD team, and then when EVS comes in the door to clean the department, you're degrading and you're treating them like less than you or less than SPD team members. A lot of your SPD team members came from EVS, right? So
Right.
Those are their friends, those are their peers, and you've just lost all that respect. You spent all that time building with your team because now you're not genuine. You're fake.
And I'm a firm believer, whether you call it karma, reap what you sow, the universe giving it back, or whatever. Don't you? Okay, let me get it together. It is not best practice for someone to be dismissive of McDonald's workers, people who happen to work in the cafeteria, EVS. It is not nice. It's not even good practice to be dismissive to that. Like, that's them, as if they are beneath. And then fuss when the OR says the same thing about sterile processing.
Exactly.
What are you doing? It's like me being mad at Lil Wayne because how he's treating me, but then I go over to Ken and I just start beating Ken, and Ken's like, "Hey, what's going on? How
I had nothing to do with this."
Yeah, and so
It is
that's
absolutely
so counterproductive. It is truly counterproductive as an industry. Now, if you want to use information and analytics, that's fine, but they treat me like a dishwasher.
It was great because I took one of our frontline team members to McDonald's with me the other day. I get the same thing every time I go to McDonald's. I get a number 7 with ketchup and pickle only. I hate mustard. I hate onions, and a Diet Coke, right? Open up the bag. There's mustard and onions all over my cheeseburgers, right? And the girl, the frontline team member, is with me, and she was like, "Oh, I'd go back in there and throw a fit." And I said, "Oh, would you now?" And she said, "I mean, how hard is that?" And I said, "Well, it's about as hard as finding bone cement in a Ferris Smith tissue forceps, which she happened to send up the week before."
Nice.
Yeah, I said, so,
hey,
I didn't let Dr. Hummel come down here and chew all over you for the bone cement. We're not going to go into McDonald's and chew on them for a little bit of onion and mustard that I can wipe off.
Listen,
Right,
I love
right.
that mic drop. I actually love that. It's so impactful that you are genuine, not only in within the confines of your job, right, but when you take that uniform off.
Right.
So I'm always cautious if I meet you, if I have the pleasure of meeting people watching the show, and the first thing you say is, "I'm the manager of Hospital ABC," right? Already blinders come on because I don't know the person, right? I'm the president of GE, or the blinders come on because I don't know the person. And another thing, a practice that I actively practice is, if I go to any shopping center, any store, and I'm engaging with the cashier, I'm known for asking, "How does your manager treat you?" Not that I'm selling employees, but if I engage an employee, a person, and my manager treats me like whatever and is genuine, I'm gonna take it upon myself as a consumer to have a talk with the manager. Speaking truth to power. I do it all the time, right? So I say that to say, be genuine. The same people that you dump on when you're on the bottom floor, when you come back down from that high rise and you have to see them again, you will only hope that karma was on vacation that day.
That's right.
That's true. True.
I was in Sephora the other day, which, I mean, I don't wear makeup, so that was like the first time I'd ever been in there. And the young lady looked at me and she said, "How was your day today, ma'am?" And I said, "It is fabulous. And you?" And she just took a step back and she said, "Nobody's ever asked me how my day is." And I'm thinking, what kind of community do we have that someone can't respond with a, "And how is yours?" I mean, but again, like Sharon said in the comments, we have to keep it real. Like, people will see through, if, like Luann said, if I'm just the director of sterile processing and that's only who I am and all I'm there to do is be a director and put in for capital budget and respect doesn't matter and kindness doesn't matter to me, that's fake. And everyone will see through that. Not just your team, but everyone in the hospital, the patients will see that.
You're right.
It's using everybody for your needs. It's not win-win.
Right.
It's I win and to all, But wait.
I mean, I keep it. Go ahead.
No, I want to do a commercial. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, just piggybacking off all of that. That's the reason why, for me, I am very transparent with my team. I let them know every little thing that the OR calls for, or because we take care of so many other clinics. If it's an issue, we all talk about it. There's nothing that was hidden and secret. No, this is what happened, and this is what we need to do. But that's keeping them engaged in the conversation. That's actually keeping them abreast of situations that arise, because at the end of the day, it's got to come down to, you're right, I take the hits, but we're going to have to talk about these hits at some point. We're going to have to talk about how many of these hits I can take. You know what I mean? We're going to have to talk about it. But I definitely, everything that everybody's saying, I appreciate all of it, because this is learning for everybody.
Hey guys, I really want to do this commercial. I have a program coming up called The Reset. UCDI has it. We do it every August. So I'm going to do this commercial. It's about a minute. When we come back, I want us to end with a line from the article in HPN that Kenneth, you're co-author of the article. You wrote an article doing it. Thank you for your voice in the industry.
Awesome.
Thank you.
When we come back, I put that in the private chat for you as panelists, so you can go ahead and get a look at it. But I really want us to encourage and see maybe how we can promote engagement in light of the fact of what that statement says. So we're going to take about a minute and we're going to look at this video. If y'all have any questions, y'all know what to do. Just text me 214-717-5921. But we'll be back in 1 minute. Guys, so that is the reset. That commercial came from UCDI leadership this round. That's the reset. It is in August, just to reset, refresh, renew, and sometimes reimagine. If you're so busy looking at something and you can't see anything but negative, let's take a moment. Let's reimagine that thing. Let's flip it. Let's flip the script. Also, if you're in leadership or even working anywhere and you can't see anything but negative all the time, every time, It's okay, man. Go ahead and put in your notice. People are hiring everywhere. You need a fresh start. I love you. I know that may hurt. Now, let's go and let us talk about this statement from Mr. Kenneth Campbell. I just think it's an amazing statement, but it talks about the fact that even though people are having staffing crisis, things within the system are not back, but the volume is back to 2019 levels. And so the workload is there. Other things have dwindled. So how do we encourage people and get engagement with that? Because the workload is not like, oh wait, we're still dealing with COVID. It's like, no, the volume is there. So how do you engage there?
I mean, from my
go ahead, Kenneth. No,
I said from parts of, like, as I spoke about in the article, it took a lot of research, and it took creating ladders and career paths to keep the engagement for the staff that I do have. It's interesting that y'all were talking about like McDonald's and stuff like that, because that was one of the selling points for my ladder, is that we had do such a technical position, but at the flip side, they can go get paid more at McDonald's. So how do you encourage and engage somebody who can go flip burgers and make more money? And that's why I said it's all respect to those workers, but when you're talking about losing a workforce because, oh, this is too technical, this is too much, we don't get paid enough to be abused by these floors and surgeons and all of this stuff. So what do we do? In my aspect, I just happened to have a great C-suite that said, you bring us the details, you put it together, and let's see what we can do. And my encouragement and engagement was, hey, I understand that you've been here for so long, but let's get you here. This is where you see your worth. This is where you see your benefit, the fruits of your labor. And not only that, this is how you can go further. If we put all of these things in place, now this is your career. Don't worry about what used to be said, all that. I'll take care of that part in the processes. But now educate yourself, get yourself in another plateau of sterile processing, and let's go further than you have ever been. Now that you see the end goal, it makes that engagement, that encouragement, that buy-in is there just based on that. They're not concerned about the volume of work. It was, I don't get paid enough to do this. Like that's where that came from. Like pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, still in the pandemic, the work was there. It's, I don't get paid enough to do this. I can go do something else and not have to take the abuse. I don't have to do ABC. That's where we had to change our strategy and try to keep our staff going in the positive direction that way.
And I mean, there's been more than one time in the last 6 months where I thought to myself, boy, I really liked being the Whopper girl when I was 18. And I mean, we used to have
responsibility is not as much, it's not as intense.
Right.
It's not near as stressful. I mean, you know, your biggest stressor is making sure you're washing your hands appropriately. And I mean, you're putting a burger on a conveyor belt and here it gets flame broiled and you're out the door. I mean, that literally was my only job. And Kenneth is right. We used to have this luxury in healthcare where, you know, we got tuition reimbursement. So, you know, you were in EBS, but you wanted to be a CNA and, you know, you would get tuition assistance and if it was nursing, you got paid 100%. But usually for sterile processing, if you weren't going into nursing, and when I say nursing, being an RN, they give you $5,000 a year. And I mean, last I checked, $5,000 a year towards college tuition doesn't go very far. So Kenneth, his career ladder in that article, I just absolutely love it. We have something similar to it, but you really expanded upon it and made it great, because now if you go to Burger King or you go to McDonald's or you go to Arby's, what do you see in all the drive-ins? 100% tuition paid. 100% tuition assistance. So again, what is our draw? How do we get people to be so excited about sterile processing, as excited as we are, and saying, but, you know, you can either be an uncertified or a certified tech and that's it. And to Kenneth's point, you can't. So you've got to build that ladder, and you've got to give them a career path. You've got to give them, you know, I've been in sterile processing for a long time. I mean, Kenneth, when did you first hear of directors in sterile processing?
Yeah, this was not
Right.
a very common thing.
Right.
When I was coming in the field, it wasn't many options past you being a lead or something of that nature. Yeah, when nobody talked about what was that next step.
Yeah, and I mean, supervisor was like, you have really hit the big time if your hospital cared enough to have a supervisor in sterile processing.
Right.
There is. I wanna piggyback off Arlene Bush's comments, because this is I was gonna be in line with my next statement. She said, keeping people encouraged is hard in all aspects, but rewards come in multiple forms. And something that Sharon Combs said, I used in a recent conversation with an executive. We have to reimagine SPD. Hashtag reimagine SPD. There's ways to find money in your system. You know,
right.
We don't want to have this hard talk, right? You can reduce costs in other areas. You can circumvent, align certain processes or volumes to additional pay. You can create career ladders, right? There's multiple variations of rewards, but we got to think outside the box. You know, we have to think outside the box, because if we don't, collectively, there's not a robot that will ever be made that can do the job 100% what an SPD technician can do. Period.
Amen.
I mean, I have those tough conversations, because you can't tell me we got 5, 6, 7 travelers, but I have no money for staff.
Oh, they can tell you that, but the point is there's enough space and you know, travelers are needed from certain times, right? But our permanent employees have a tie to the community, have a tie to the entire environment. So we have to look bigger and outside of just the 4 walls. We have to.
Yes.
But this is a conversation not many people are willing to engage in, right?
Right.
And we probably can't. We don't have enough time now.
I know, man. It's good.
But we gotta get to it. You know.
Well, we're gonna save that one for another time, Luann. We're gonna save that one for another time.
Charity said period. Arlene said mic drop. Charity said yes, indeed. I just want to say kudos to SIPS Consults, not just as a sponsor here, SIPS Consults and CS Assist, but kudos to SIPS Consults, because when I came into this field, I came halfway in, like jump rope, around like 2008, 9, and 10. But like 2012 is when I really was like, okay, full on. And SIPS always had like directors, and like they always had those positions visible. And I want to say kudos to you all too, because even here on Knowledge and Nonsense, the visibility lets people know, because there's somebody right now who may scroll through in a rural community who is still like, well, SPD only goes to lead. There's nothing above that. And that's not the case at all. There's so many opportunities out there. It may be on the other side of a handshake. It may be on the other side of your zip code, but there are opportunities out there. And so kudos to both of you for staying in there and not going to McDonald's, you know. And just, I want to say this too. McDonald's understood the assignment. A lot of times HRs in medical places are 2 to 3 years behind whatever hiring trend, curve, or whatever. You know, that's the thing when you have these huge organizations that are so tied up, and sometimes bureaucracy. McDonald's understood the assignment. They're like, listen, people aren't going to work. We have to be aggressive now. What do we do to bring people in? Socially, it's not fulfilling to work at McDonald's. So we need to do something that's going to exceed that social. That social. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I worked with kids and everyone was like, oh my God, you're such a great person. You're a counselor with these kids. Amazing. But I couldn't pay my rent. I started delivering pizzas at Pizza Hut. And people were like, you work at Pizza Hut? But my rent was paid early every time. And I was like, oh, I understand. These are the different rewards.
Right.
So amazing. Team, and reimagine this. And I reimagine this, right? Imagine if all of our directors in SPD and OR directors were positioned to a new title, a new role, senior director, associate director. And then the managers in the house were given the opportunity to apply for that role. The trickle effect in that one hospital,
Wow.
you want to open up tens of hundreds of positions. Then nationwide, you got this huge momentum of new entries in positions, right? So
Right,
there is
right.
a way to keep empowering our folks and value them. And it's much more than just money. You know, it's opportunity, it's money. If your goal is not to be retiring SPD, your manager should know, have a talk with your leader. What do you truly want to be, and
Right.
see what path it can open up for you. You may need to be successfully managed out the department, and I don't mean being fired. No, I might
Right, right. No,
It's-
I think it's a good point. Like at the same time, like I said, if you're there for your people and they have their own goals and dreams, and SPD isn't one of them, you still are there to help them still achieve whatever that
Yes.
goal is.
That's it.
So
That's it. You know.
Hey,
I mean,
listen up.
the manager at McDonald's down the road is making more money a year than I am as a director right now. So, I mean, there's things out there, and I think, I don't know Kenna's story, Luane or Sharon, but we all started somewhere, right? And I think sometimes in sterile processing, our frontline techs feel like, I'm just here, I'm just stuck, I'm 30 years old, I'm going to get certified, and that's really all I'm ever going to do because I don't want to go back to college. And if you can share your story, like in my case, and say, I didn't get my bachelor's degree until I was 45 years old.
Right.
I mean, it took me 22 years to get through a bachelor's degree while working in the OR and in sterile processing. But if that's their goal, if their goal is to be a manager or director or an educator, and a bachelor's degree is a requirement for that, help them get there.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
Sharing your story, make it seem possible.
Listen, whatever your passion is, how about having a career day in your department, right? You may not want to live in sterile processing. Your goal may be you want to be service tech. You may want to become an entrepreneur, start a business. Ask me how, right? So
there you go. There you go. There you go.
You might want to be a CRNA.
Lead your people, be that example.
Or maybe you want to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Yes, you might. A key with that, again, I'm a big fan of internal movement as well as external.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest keys is you have to know. If you're like, well, this is all I can do because no one told me different, you may not know because no one told you. But listen, we're telling you now. There's opportunity out there. So begin to think to yourself, what do I want it to look like in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? It may be scary, but ask yourself, what do I want it to look like? What do I want my income? What do I want my relationship? What do I want to stay in this school system? Ask yourself those questions and then begin to move toward those answers. It's possible, man. As Luane said, you want to start a business, ask him how. You want to know how to move toward it, ask me how. Trust me, we're going to get you there. Yeah. And Tammy, you're right. Yes. I was an adult college student. So the thing is, like, don't believe the lie.
Right.
Don't believe the lie. Keep moving forward. All right.
If you didn't graduate when you were 22, you're still okay.
Listen,
yes.
Right. Yes, definitely.
They told us, some told us you have to, go to high school and what you shouldn't, go to college, what you should, if that's in your trajectory, and then come out and get this amazing job. We need more entrepreneurs. We need more independent companies. We need more free thinkers, right? We have to reimagine SPD. So hashtag reimagine SPD. It's a freebie. Thank you all for joining us tonight on Knowledge and Nonsense. Tammy, Kenneth, Sharon, mic drop. This was a fun conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have to do it again.
Yes, please.
Definitely.
I always love hanging with you guys.
Yes, it's always fun.
So much. Kenneth, what's the name of the article again? And tell everybody where they can find you before we go out. And then you, Tammy.
I'm on LinkedIn. The article is in the Health Purchasing News. Definitely check it out. I have a link. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I can send you a copy of the online article itself. So you can it's a great read. Like I said, took me from just getting staff engaged and how I came about with my career ladder, just to make sure that I could keep my staff that I have and bring in staff that want to be in SPD.
Excellent. All right, guys, go find him on LinkedIn, even right now, before you do something else. Go and connect with him on LinkedIn. Tammy, where can we find you?
You can find me at LinkedIn as well. It's probably, I cannot ever remember if it's under Tamra Haycock or Tammy, but either way, I'm on LinkedIn. So, and feel free to reach out to me anytime for any questions.
Yes.
I have all sorts of goofy, fun ideas on how to keep your team engaged. So,
excellent. Excellent. And it's under Tammy Peacock. Tammy's
yes.
in parentheses. That's how
Tamra.
we get there. Mr.
Tamra.
Perkins, where can they find you?
You can find me on Broadway. I'm in the next episode. Hey, if you ain't got my number by now, I don't know where you've been. Or call somebody and get to me. I'll be happy to talk. Absolutely.
Yes, and you can find me at the same place on LinkedIn. Thank y'all so much for being with us this evening. Thank you for all the comments. Reimagine SPD. If you're interested in the reset, let's get it. We're going to bring Tammy and Kenneth back. We'll let you know when, but we're going to continue this conversation, because I can say without a doubt, everyone on this panel is very proud of the work that goes forth within the surgical support, within SPD. We're very proud of the work that goes forth. I know people get tired. You get tired of people talking crazy to you, blaming you for stuff. It's okay. Woosah, breathe. You are saving lives. You are a part of people being able to have a better quality of life because of the work that you do. And we don't want that to get lost in the sauce. We're proud of you. You're doing a wonderful job. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks
so
you.
much, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you all so much. Have a great evening.
Yeah.